Figuring out your why is one of the most important things that you can do as a real estate agent if you are looking for success in this business. And today I'm going to share with you my personal why and why it is important to be able to identify what drives you, what motivates you, and really pushes you to the next level. And we're going to hop into it right now. Mariah Curley here. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if this is your very first time here. I'm a licensed and active real estate agent and coach, and this channel is literally everything you need to know about how to build and scale your business the modern way by leveraging the power of social media. If that's of interest to you, consider subscribing down below. Make sure you tap that bell for notifications so you are notified every week I drop a new video. I hear from real estate agents like you all the time, and I absolutely love it. So if you are looking to build and scale your business this modern way, feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, and it would be my absolute pleasure to connect with you. And if there are any topics that you would like for me to cover on this channel, please send me a message, and I would love to shoot content and videos on that topic. So one of the main things I remember when I got into the real estate space many years ago, the hot topic was just like figuring out your why. And I remember thinking like, well, in the beginning, I literally went into it because I thought, gosh, my husband and I had just bought our first home. I looked at the whole experience. I went, that was so fun. At the time, I was teaching third grade, and I, was commuting an hour each way to get to my school. And that was amazing at the time. But I remember like looking at this real estate space being like, oh, I know I want to have some investment properties. I know I want to do, like, I knew there was a lot more to real estate that I wanted to do and how I could help people. Because as an educator, I was a former elementary school teacher for 15 years. Yes, 15 years. And over those years, I have loved serving, helping, educating families and children. And it has been one of the most incredible things. And I remember looking at real estate and thinking, I wonder if I could be that, that educator, that supporter, that, all of those things that go through one of most people's largest financial purchase in their entire lives. And so I thought, I wonder if I could facilitate and help in that way. So going back, let me chat really quickly about my personal why. My mom grew up in Minnesota. She was one of 6 children, and her father had served in the military. When he came back from the military, he ended up getting married to my grandmother. When they got married, as he came back, from the military, he ended up dealing with a lot of PTSD, a lot, and really didn't know how to navigate and manage that at the time. So long story short, he ended up becoming an alcoholic, and basically all of the money that he would make from work, it would disappear with alcohol. And my mom, or my grandma, was left at home with 6 kids, and really like we're talking major poverty. And my mom at a very young age ended up getting a job, and she eventually ended up she was the only person in her whole family that ended up going to college. And I remember, my grandma, over the years, she ended up getting a job as a waitress. And when she got a job as a waitress, the money that she received from her tip money, that ended up being the money that she ended up, really spending for breakfast, lunch, dinner for her, for her 6 children. And I remember hearing these stories over the years, and my heart just broke. And I just remember thinking like, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be, how can we educate more people? And how can we be able to break those kind of cycles? Well, like I said, my mom ended up she was the first one in her family to go to college. She became an elementary school teacher, married my dad, who was also an elementary school teacher. And so it was just this, she broke that cycle in her family. And I got to, watch on with this. And I just remember thinking like, for me, that was motivation enough, where I saw, the poverty that they ended up living through and just the challenges. And I remember thinking like, I want to be able to, if anything, happens to my husband or whatever, I want to be able to sustain and support my family. At the time, I was teaching elementary school, just like my 2 parents. And obviously it was a phenomenal career. I loved teaching. I love educating. I still love educating. And that is why I am in this coaching space right now. So I knew this real estate space not only would be a phenomenal opportunity in terms of like education and teaching and guiding and facilitating, which I had been doing, for many years before, but I also knew it's a passion. It's a passion of mine. I absolutely I love being in the real estate space. I love helping, I love serving, and I love being able to, depending on how hard I work, depending on how much I do, there are incremental, you are able to see the fruits of your labor. You are able to see, the more effort and the more work I put in, there's a financial reward for that too, which for all my years teaching, it didn't matter how many extra hours I spent lesson planning and, preparing this and doing this and taking the kids to the most amazing field trips and like all those things, it's still going to make the exact same amount that everybody else, is pretty much making, depending on the gradual skill that you're on and number of units you have and all of that. And I just remember thinking, like, this is so cool. Like, this is so awesome. And for me now, I am in this space where as an elementary teacher before, I didn't even think that I would be able to make six figures. Yes. I mean, because honestly, like you look at the salary schedule, I was tutoring and doing all these different things. And I remember thinking, like, looking over on the salary schedule and thinking, there's no way even in my entire career, I will never hit six figures. Like, that's crazy. Like, I just thought that was crazy. And I remember talking to some of my friends of mine that were in the real estate space, and this one's making this and that. And then all of a sudden one day I was talking to my business coach, and she was like, oh yeah, we just need to reverse engineer this. Like, what do you want to make? And I'm like, well, if I could make six figures, that would be awesome. Like, even if I just hit that, and I never even went over, you know what I mean? My mindset at the time was really small in that way. And so as I start reverse engineering this, as I start like plugging in the things, and I realized, like, okay, my effort and the actions that I'm taking are a direct correlation to like my paycheck. I went, oh my gosh. Like, once I started really applying. So for me, figuring out that why is a huge, important part. So for me, number one, it's the family. Like, it is the family. I've got four kids. And so, knowing that what my grandparents came from in poverty and watching my parents and all of that, I knew that I wanted to be able to do something different for my family, for our loved ones, and also for our legacy. And I just think, no better space is there that you can do this than real estate. And I look at it and I just go, this is honestly such an incredible opportunity. Number two, like I said, is kind of like that motivation piece of, if you know your why will make you do things that maybe you would not have wanted to do previously. If you're like, oh, you know what, well, this and this, maybe in the morning you're not going to want to wake up and make content, or you're not going to want to shoot that video, or you're not going to want to do these things. But if you know your why, and I will never have my family living in poverty like my grandparents were, or I will never, like, there's different things. There are days I wake up and I go, oh man, I really don't feel like doing this today. But my why is so strong that it's like, yeah, sure, I don't feel like doing it, but I'm going to do it anyway. Right. It's kind of like that exercise piece where sometimes you wake up and you're like, oh, I really don't feel like running or exercising, but your body's going to feel so much better afterward, and your, mind, body, and spirit, all that. So figuring out your why. And one of the things I recommend you do is just start a list, start a Google Doc, hop on your computer. You could even do, like, on your phone, you can do a talk to text, and just start writing down or talking to text of everything that is important to you and why you think you have gotten into this real estate space. And also, there are a lot of real estate agents that leave the real estate industry because their why is not strong enough. Yes, their why is not strong enough of figuring out what that is going to be for them. So if you are in this space, or you're thinking about getting into real estate and you're like, oh, I don't know, right? Figure out your why first. And honestly, that why will help you do so many more things when you become scared, when you're fearful, when you don't want to do it, when, lacking the motivation, all those different things. Your why will make you show up day after day after day, month after month, week after week. And honestly, to me, having a strong why of family, not living in poverty, having the financial freedom, doing those different things motivates me so much more than most things do. So hopefully this gives you a little snapshot into, a little bit of my personal story, and would love to hear Anything that you have to share, please drop a comment down below. And if you are looking to build and scale your business the modern way by leveraging the power of social media, feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. I absolutely love hearing from real estate agents just like you. Let's connect. I'm wishing you a wonderful day. Take care. Bye.